Hi everybody, Dave Sullivan here for the MMLA Membership Committee with
Paul Traub from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago.
Paul, thanks for coming out today. It was a great speech as always. We appreciate you coming out every year. And during your presentation, you talked about the recovery after the Great Recession and how it compared to other recession recoveries. Why don't you talk a little bit about it?
Well, when you look at where we are post-recession, we are 23 quarters of data that we have. Actually, we're 6 years from the start of the recession. We are still quite anemic in growth compared to where we normally would be. Normally, the total economy would be over 20% higher than where it is, than where it was when the recession started, and right now we're about 5.5% above where we were when the recession started. So very, very anemic. You divide that by 6 years, and you can see less than 1% per year.
It's really kind of disappointing in a way, but there were two factors in the graph that you had there that was keeping us from kind of getting back to a normal recovery, and one of those things was investment. Investments
were very, very meager. But even if you took the ratios, it wouldn't get us back to where we were. Everything is very slow. Investment might bring up everything in some general, but yeah, investment has been a real part of it.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think investment is kind of dragging on the recovery?
Well, part of it could be that we overbuilt. If you want to break it into residential and non-residential investment. On the non-residential side, which is business investment, we're about where we were at the start of the recession. And that's probably being held back because of what's going on the residential side. And so the debate is, did we oversell the market? Were there too many homes sold? And so that would hold back the overall investment picture.
Right. And some of that comes back to a discussion we had at our dining table about appraisals, and if they were they dragging the economy or the home prices down, or were they actually a reflection of what's an actual home in that area would sell for?
Well, I mean, they could be dragging down the economic growth in that it might be locking people into places that they otherwise could move from. So there's been some studies on whether it's impacting mobility, the ability for individuals to seek out employment elsewhere because they want to be able to find jobs outside of where they live, but they're locked into their homes. Those studies have been kind of inconclusive whether or not that's the case. But there is some evidence that home prices may be, the demand for homes might be a little heavier if people could get the prices for their homes that buyers are willing to spend.
Right, and they feel like they don't want to sell and lose money, so they'd rather stay where they were.
Given what they've lost already, yeah, they feel maybe that they're just, why sell? I'll wait and see if the market recovers in another 6 months or so.
So we've got a new chairman.
Yes.
And we're starting the taper.
Yes.
So what do you think the outlook is for this year? Will there, I mean, these are only your opinions, but do you think that, we'll continue to see tapering? I mean, the taper that happened, the stock market at least, didn't really they took it in stride.
Right.
Which is a good sign.
Right. A lot of it used to be no one knew what the Fed was going to do for long days, even after the meetings, because they weren't as transparent. I think we were a lot more transparent now. I think this tapering has been on the books for a long time, so whether or not it was a surprise to anyone, probably not. The market's most likely adjusted for that. If you look at the long bond, you can see that the interest rates had already risen to where they are today prior to the start of the tapering in anticipation of some move. The beginning of slowing down the purchases, the market long bonds only changed to maybe about 8 or 9 basis points.
Yeah.
So a lot of that I think was already factored in.
Baked in, yeah, good. So will we see continued tapering? I mean, have they indicated publicly which way they're going to go? I mean, I know that now they're going to stop where they're at, but at some point I would think they're going to completely taper, right?
Well, if I knew that, I would, I'd surely not tell you.
Right.
But I think, from what I understand, the concept is, it's a wait and see. We'll wait and see how the market's, and I think most of the analysts were a little disappointed in what happened with the last labor report. Yeah. And so again, it may look like, well, geez, maybe things aren't as good as we originally thought.
Right. So it's slow as we go for the time.
It's slow and tempered, and constantly taking the pulse of the economy.
Great. Well, thanks again, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.